This is Africa, a continent home to great nature like Mount Kilimanjaro, the Namib Desert, and great cultural and linguistic diversity. A continent where people speak not only 100, 200, 500, but rather more than 2,000 freaking languages. And it's obvious that all these languages are divided into different groups based on similarities and ancestors, which are known as families. And in this video, we're gonna look at some of these language families from Africa. But before we begin, my name is Saunam and I love learning languages. And without further ado, let's get down to business. Now, more than 2,000 languages are spoken in Africa, and they are divided into language families. But in this video, we're only gonna look at a few of them. First off, we have Afro-Asiatic languages. Now, Afro-Asiatic is a language family consisting of over 300 languages spoken by around 500 million speakers in North Africa, the Horn of Africa, and West Asia. Basically, from Morocco all the way to Kuwait or Iraq. India is the fourth largest language family and one of the oldest in the world. And this family is further divided into six branches. It's Semitic languages, Omoric languages, Chadic languages, Cushitic languages, Berber languages, and Egyptian languages. And now let's look at some of them real quick. Number one, Semitic languages. Now Semitic is the largest Afro-Asiatic branch. It's mainly concentrated in the Middle East, Horn of Africa, and the island nation of Malta. It includes languages like Arabic, Hebrew, Tigrinya, Amharic, and many more. They are famous for the root-based word system, which means words are built from consonants that carry meaning. For example, in Arabic, you have the kata barur about writing, and from there you can have words like book, writer, author. I don't know, different conjugations of the verb to write and all that. Number two, Chadic languages. Now, Chadic languages are primarily spoken in the Sahel region and West Africa. Hausa is the most dominant Chadic language spoken in Nigeria, Niger, and parts of Cameroon. Number three, Egyptian languages. Now, Egyptian languages were spoken in ancient Egypt, but today almost all of them are extinct. But some of them still survive in the Coptic language, which is still used liturgically. And yeah, now let's look at some common features of Afro-Asiatic languages, although they differ a lot among the branches and all that, but let's look at some common ones. Number one, root-based word system. I already explained it above. It's a feature super common feature in Semitic languages. Number two, genders. Now many Afro-Asiatic languages have grammatical genders, mainly two, masculine and feminine. Number three, verb conjugation. Now in many Afro-Asiatic languages, you have to conjugate verbs based on time, person, number, gender, and sometimes even aspects in some languages. Number four, sentence structure. Now in Afro-Asiatic languages, you can see all kinds of structure depending on branches. For example, in Semitic languages, you have VSO, verb, subject, object. You have to put the verb first. And in other branches, they may have SVO, subject, verb, object, or SOV, subject, object, verb. And that's all about Afro-Asiatic languages. Now let's look at Niger-Congo languages. Now Niger-Congo is the largest language family in Africa with over 1,400 languages, which are spoken by nearly 600 million people. And furthermore, this language family is divided into nine more branches, among which two of them are super important: Atlantic languages and Benue-Congo languages. Now Atlantic languages are spoken in the western coast of Africa. Prominent languages include Wolof, which is spoken in Senegal, and Fula, which is spoken across the Sahel region. And then we have Benue-Congo languages, which is the largest branch by far, covering a massive geographical area. And again, this branch has a lot of subgroups, among which the most notable ones are Bantu languages. Bantu languages include hundreds of languages like Swahili, Shona, Xhosa, Zulu, and many more. Now, Bantu languages are famous for having tones. Almost all Bantu languages, they have tones, except Swahili. It's an exception. And then Bantu languages are also famous for having a super unique feature called noun classes. Now, it's a system in Bantu languages where nouns are categorized into different groups, different classes based on maybe endings, based on beginning words, and sometimes even meanings. Each of those categories, they have different suffixes, prefixes, or affixes. There are other words like adjectives, verbs, relative clauses, connectors, and everything. Every other word in the sentence, they have to match with each other. For example, let me give you an example in Swahili. Now you have the word zuri, which means good, and you have the word mutu, which means a person, the first class word, and then you have the word watu, which means people, second class. So if you want to say a good person, you would say mutu muzuri, and if you want to say good people, you would say watu wazuri. Oh yeah, also notice that the adjectives, they go after the nouns, in Spanish. And yeah, that's how I explain the concept of noun classes. Languages like Swahili, they have 18 noun classes. Can you even imagine that? It's basically like genders in European languages, but in a more complex and interesting way. Now here are some other features of Bantu languages. Number one, clicks. Now in many Bantu languages, especially the ones spoken in South Africa, they have clicks like this. They are from like Khoisan languages, which we will look at in a bit. And also, if you are interested in South Africa, I've got like a whole video dedicated to it. Number two, vowel harmony. Now, languages like Igbo, they have like vowel harmony. Number three, unique consonants. Now, many of these languages, they have like super unique consonants that you can't find like outside. Like, for example, Igbo, they have like labiovelar consonants. Like, I can't make those sounds, but what labiovelar means is like you use your lips and like, the back of your mouth at the same time, like that. And now let's look at Nilo-Saharan languages. Now, Nilo-Saharan is a language family consisting of over like 200 languages spoken by more than like 70 million people in like, South Sudan, DRC, Niger, Mali, and parts of some other countries. And this family is further divided into like 10 to 12 main branches, among which Eastern Sudanic is the largest one. It includes languages like, Maasai, Nuer, Dinka, and some other languages spoken in South Sudan and Sudan. And now let's look at some features of Nilo-Saharan languages. Number one, vowel harmony. Many branches, especially Niloric, heavily utilize vowel harmony. Number two, tones. Now, the vast majority of these languages are tonal. Number three, pastoralist terminology. Now, the languages are heavily tied to like, Gael culture and like pastoral heritage, which is why like they have super specific and like super niche words for like, Gaels and all that. Number four, sentence structure. Now, many eastern and southern branches they favor like either VSO like verb subject object or VOS like verb object subject is their main structures. And in contrast, many western branches like Luo they generally favor like SVO. Now, this family is actually debated, and here's how it goes. There's like two perspectives: the lumper perspective and the splitter perspective. Now, the lumper perspective was introduced by linguist Joseph Greenberg in 1963. This view argues that diverse African languages spoken by around like 70 million people around that region, they share like common morphological and lexical traits like three-term number marking, vowel harmony, and like movable affixes is evidence of Proto-Nilo-Saharan ancestor originating like from 9,000 to 12,000 years ago. And then there's also the splitter perspective. Many modern linguists argue that these languages aren't actually similar. The similar is between these languages are actually like coincidence or like maybe borrowed features or words. So yeah, that's why it's debated, and we should leave it here and move on to next family, which is like Khoisan languages. Now, Khoisan was thought to be a single language family, but now it's not. It refers to like a group of languages, even some unrelated ones belonging to different families. They are famous for like having cliques, which is exactly the reason why a lot of South African languages have cliques. And yeah, Khoisan languages are common in South Africa and Namibia. A popular Khoisan language is Nama with over like 300,000 speakers, mainly in South Africa and Namibia. And then we have Austronesian languages. Now, Austronesian languages in Africa are represented almost entirely by Malagasy, the national language of the island nation of Madagascar. It was brought to Africa by seafaring Austronesian settlers like from Borneo 2,500 years ago. And yeah, and in Africa, it got influenced by like Bantu languages, by like coastal African languages. You know what I'm saying, right? And yeah, these were like some major language families in Africa. And of course, like there's so many languages that belong to like super small language families or like are completely isolated. And also because of colonization, a lot of Indo-European languages like Portuguese, French, and English are spoken widely in Africa. And there's only one Indo-European language that evolved completely in Africa, Afrikaans. I have got a whole video dedicated to Afrikaans and South Africa in general. You can watch it if you are interested in it. And yeah, that's all about like all these language families in Africa. Africa is super diverse and interesting, isn't it? But sadly, there's not much resources to learn these languages. I wish there were some. And yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, ciao.